Hi, welcome to Cichlid Heaven. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to try and convince people in the world to get a cichlid aquarium. And I don't sell cichlids. I have no motivation other than I want to share something that I love. But if you've never owned a cichlid aquarium, you're missing one of the most fascinating living worlds you can bring into your home. Now, I know people think fish are boring sometimes, and I think some aquariums are extremely boring. So you've got to find the fish that really excite you. Because you imagine a goldfish swimming around in a bowl. If that's your thing, awesome. But cichlids are a completely different story. A large cichlid aquarium isn't just a fish tank, it's an ever changing drama in your home. It's full of beauty, full of excitement, relationships, conflict, growth, and surprises. The first thing that really catches your attention is the color. And one of the things I get when people walk into my cichlid room is, are these freshwater or salt? And it's a question that for a while I was actually becoming extremely tired of, because it means that I'm not dealing with a kindred soul here who loves them the way that I love them. It's obvious because if you don't even know if a fish is fresh or salt, you are, at the early stages of understanding. But cichlids are freshwater fish. But the reason people ask that is not because they're dumb. It's because they look kind of like saltwater fish. Saltwater fish are known for being colorful, and cichlids are as well. The blues, the yellows, the deep oranges and reds, um, black and white stripes that are just gorgeous with little blue highlights. They're just unbelievably gorgeous. And some fish are so colorful, they look like they were just, created by an artist. And I think they were. So when God made fish, he was not messing around. He made some unbelievably beautiful creatures. And when the sunlight or the aquarium lighting just hits them right, the whole tank just comes to life and just glimmers. So, one thing about cichlids that you want to know before you ever get started is don't get a 10 gallon, don't get a 30 gallon, don't even get a 40 or a 60 gallon. The larger the aquarium, the better. A big aquarium gives the fish room to grow. They've got to establish territories, display their natural behaviors, and you can't just do that in a tiny, stunted environment. It, if you get a big aquarium, it lets you keep a greater variety of species and creates so much more of a dynamic environment. One of the things you can do is keep things, if you have a large enough aquarium, you can keep fish that aren't typically kept together, because they can establish territory over here for these guys, over here for those guys. Those Africans, those Central Americans, and those Asians can all get along because they have enough room to do it. But if you cramp them into a little glass box, it's just not going to be possible. And it's not going to be enjoyable because they are territorial and there's too much conflict where territory is in short supply. One of the things that makes cichlids so cool is not just their appearance, it's their personalities. Every cichlid keeper eventually learns that they're not just decorations, they're individuals, they're people. Some of them are bold, some are shy, some cause trouble, some are rulers of the tank, and you'll find yourself looking at fish and talking about them as if they were family members. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've heard call or add a cichlid a serial killer. They can be with the wrong tank mates. They can be serial killers, and that guy's always causing problems. Those two are always together. Oh, I think we got a new. I think these guys have become buddies, And so you watch them, and they're just like people. They form these relationships. Sometimes you'll see a fish and say, "Boy, that fish thinks he owns the entire aquarium." And that's a pretty common thing with cichlids. So that's why you don't go too small. So, and one of the most rewarding things about the hobby is learning which fish you can successfully put together, which can be combined and which can't. It's a learning curve, and not every fish gets along with every other fish. Building a successful cichlid aquarium requires observation, patience, and a true willingness to learn. You learn scientific names of fish. You become kind of like a zoologist or biologist who understands a lot more about the fish than the average person does. You can learn how to balance personalities. You don't just have one tough fish and the rest docile fish. You want to have a dozen tough fish and then some docile fish, because the tough fish will keep each other busy, and the docile fish will be able to get along because the tough fish are busy with the other tough fish. And so it's just part of the fun is just learning how to put different personalities together and enjoy the unpredictability and change. Sometimes you find a fish just can't get along. It's just too bossy for your particular type of favorite fish. And so there's these great groups that you see cropped up on Facebook for many years now called fish rehoming groups. And there's probably other ways to move them on as well. You can take some back to pet stores, but you can give this fish that doesn't get along with your fish a new home. Somebody else will try and care for it and try and fit it into his community. I have picked up so many awesome fish from people in rehoming groups. Fish that I would have had to pay a lot more money for, and maybe fish that I could have never found. So you're giving somebody else something that they'll love, and you're finding you get rid of your square peg in a round hole and find something you like better. So you don't have to end with what you started with. So keeping in mind and understanding from the outset that there's not constant peace and harmony, there's disagreements, there's rivalries, there's territorial disputes, but there's also friendships and alliances. So you'll see fish spending time together. You say, oh, I think this guy's found a buddy, or I think she's found a mate. And that kind of relationship is just amazing to watch. You see the mating dance of breeding cichlids, and that male just becomes so colorful. And with Central American cichlids, the female is just breathtakingly beautiful. All these shimmery colors come out that you don't see every day of the month. So it's just amazing to watch. And you get to see the social structure of the aquarium. You get to see the leaders, the followers, the allies, and the enemies. And there's fish that fall somewhere in between. It becomes like a society that's just unfolding right before your eyes. There is the excitement of growth, because usually cichlids are sold between 1 and 2 inches long, which is small for most cichlids. Most of them are going to get to 4 to 10 inches. And you get to see the growth and the change. You get to see the males mature. You get to see the females mature. You find that some are going to be really colorful and some are not. Now, there's this thing out there that a lot of people do. They call it an all-male aquarium. And it's not a bad idea, but it's extremely difficult to accomplish, because you'll buy fish and people swear that they're male, and then you'll notice a year later that it's laying eggs. It is not a male. And then you have to try and figure out what to do with the female. And females are not always easy to find homes for, because a lot of times with African cichlids, they have almost no color. So I wouldn't always recommend going with the all-male tank idea. If your tank space is really short and the territory is extremely contested, then maybe. But watching the males and females is, to me, much more interesting than trying to do an all-male tank, trying to find and pay for very expensive all-male fish. The idea of watching the fish grow and finding out if they're male or female based on color and behavior is, to me, worth the trouble of having breeding. And breeding creates a time where the fish instinctually become very protective and very territorial. And I've heard a story yesterday of a guy told me about his Jack Dempseys that just started waging all-out war on the Oscars in the tank because they started breathing, and just out and out, no holds barred attacking those Oscars. So it's not something to just just pop into and expect everything to go well every time, because things won't go well every time. But if you plan it out, you can actually have some good experiences. One of the things that I really like lately is my Venustus. I've got these awesome venustus fish that continue to have babies that survive. Now, you got to know this, that venustus, when they have babies, we're talking well over 100 fish per batch. And these guys are breeding probably monthly or even more often than that. And so out of that 100, maybe none survive at all with most pairs. But maybe one does survive. Maybe you've got just a baby that is just really lucky and really good at finding a little tiny spot that nobody else can see or get into and preserving its own life. It does happen. And with these venustus, they've had batch after batch after batch. And out of every batch, I think 1 or 2 survive. So now I've got in my cichlid aquarium a dozen little baby venustus. They look like little giraffes. There's this kind of mottled brown and gold kind of color when they're juveniles. And they're just finding a way to survive, just like it would happen in nature. There's some place where there's a couple of wood logs and some plants back there, and it's kind of dense foliage, and there's some rocks they can kind of dart around in, and it's just become kind of their little haven. So if you don't have females, if you don't have any breeding, you don't get to see those cool experiences like that. Now, I'm not saying that if your fish have babies that they're going to survive, because I've had Central American cichlids breed venustus, green terrors, and other fish that have bred and produced hundreds, and I do mean literally hundreds per group, a cloud of fry, and then have that entire cloud of fry get gobbled up within a matter of just a few days. So, do they all survive? No. Do any survive? Sometimes also no. But some can survive, and it's kind of fun to see when they do. When they don't survive, you don't have to beat yourself up and say, oh, I didn't preserve that beautiful living thing. Because in nature, it's not about preserving every beautiful living thing. It's about a food chain. And when you have those fish going on in there, the other fish are now getting a great source of live food. A part of their diet in nature is eating live fish, and so it should be in part of the aquarium too. So when they do get eaten up, you're actually making your fish healthier and stronger, and creating an environment that nature has as well. So it's not a terrible thing at all. It's a wonderful thing. So let's see. So I think that covers most of the things that you want to, that I enjoy most about the cichlid aquarium. But if you think on a philosophical level, it connects you with life. In a world that we have that's filled with screens and schedules, and a cichlid tank kind of reminds us that the living things are always there in our world, constantly growing, adapting, competing, cooperating, surviving. They're there. And we get into our enclosed indoor lives, and we forget that nature out there has something that is absolutely fascinating, beautiful. It's just our window into nature. It's more than a hobby. It's a place to relax, place to learn, place to be surprised. And after many years of keeping cichlids, I can tell you this: there's no two cichlid tanks exactly alike. This is true of other aquariums too, but cichlids are complex. And there's other families of fish that I would also recommend. But these guys are more beautiful, more interesting, and just I think more worth your time. If you're going to do something with your time, you might as well do something you love. So I invite you to love cichlids and see how it works out for you. If anybody listens to this and actually does start a cichlid aquarium, just let me know in the comments. I would absolutely love to know that I started somebody out on the same road that I started 38 years ago, and that you're going to have as much fun as I do with these fish. I hear people's stories every day online about the ones that are new, and the excitement is just palpable. You can feel how cool it is. So get a cichlid aquarium. Make it as large as you reasonably can. Fill it with beautiful fish, fascinating personalities, and lots of room for life to unfold. Because once you experience the color, excitement, relationships, and constant change of a thriving cichlid aquarium, you'll understand why so many of us become cichlid keepers for life. So this is John at Cichlid Heaven, and I'm just wishing you the most wonderful day possible. And thanks for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.